Welcome to the final lesson of this course. We are now going to talk about 3D animations, and this is going to be by far the coolest animation we are going to recreate. So what we are going to do right here is recreate an animation similar to this one. Now, if we want to deconstruct this animation right here from Imangazi, as you can see, the key factors are 1, the text popping up, 2, the squares, which are in a 3D format. It's not that they are 2D right in front of you. And then there is a little fade here on the number. As you can see, part of the number is black. There is written category. And then there are, the text appearing and the grid background. We will start recreating these first by creating the squares. So we'll go ahead and import a square that I've created in Canva. I've just simply used a square and a gradient border, nothing crazy, around at the corners. So what I will go ahead and do is I will zoom in like so. I will also disable the video in the background. Perfect. And then I will go ahead and import a text. There we go. And I will call it 1. By the way, I've already gone ahead and clicked 60 FPS and 3 layers, just saying. So now I have my 1. I will go ahead and use Arial Black because I think that's what's being used in the video from Imangazi, as you can see. I'm pretty sure that's the same font. Regardless, that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to make it bigger, put it in the middle, and bigger, a bit lower, bigger, 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 bigger. Okay, we'll put it a bit more here. Let's look if it's the center. I think it is. So now what I will go ahead and do is animate this 1 so that it appears from below. To do that, I will go ahead and use a slide up animation. There we go. Perfect. However, there is this small thing that I don't like where, as you can see, the 1 here goes through this line, which I don't like. I want the 1 only to be in the square. So to avoid this, I will go ahead and use a compound clip by clicking Alt-G. I will go on horizontal mask and I will leave it on 0 degrees and put it right here and add a bit of shadow. So this is what it's going to look like. As you can see, the 1 appears like that. However, I'll go back and remove the square actually because I want the 1 to move slower. I like this more, and I'll make also the text a bit longer. Now I'll go back and recreate the horizontal mask like this. So this is what it looks like. Perfect. I will then add a black screen. The reason I'm adding a black screen is because I want the shadow effect that Imangazi has created. And would you look at that? This is what I'm looking for. I will also have to make sure to reduce the scale because it was going over the borders. So I'll redo the masking right here. And I think like this, it looks good. Let's go ahead and confront it with what we had before. So if I put it here, yeah, I think I like this. Now we are not done with the animation yet because we are still missing the category thing. As you can see, there's the category. So I will undo this compound clip, copy the text by holding Ctrl-C, then click on Ctrl-Z so that I go back to the original animation, and then I will Ctrl-V, copy the number that I've copied before, but this time I'll type in category. I will then reduce the scale, which is at 500 right now. I will put it here, and instead of giving it a slide up animation like this, I will try and give another animation. So I think I really like this mini zoom animation. That's what I was looking for. As you can see, it looks pretty smooth. However, I wanted to delay it a bit. Let's look at this now. Alright, it's not bad. I want it to end when the 1 ends as well. And I want it to appear when the 1 ends. So I'll move it up to here. At the same time, the 1 ends exactly here. So I'll end this one as well right here. Let's look at them now once again. Alright, that's perfect. So I've now recreated the category as well. let's look at what we have here. So we have the 0 to 10K, which we will add later, and then all the rest is done. So as you can see, what Iman does, he creates glow. However, we could do it by simply going on glow, clicking it, category, and then we put the intensity down. We put a keyframe on the range at 10, and then we go forward and we put a keyframe at 100. And as you can see, the glow would appear. However, that's not the effect I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to go for a more complicated 3D effect. And now in order to export, I will bring in a red screen. I will make it full screen. I will increase the saturation so that it's more red. The more red it is, the better. And then I will go ahead and click on output right here because it's where the animation ends. I will remove this, expand this. And what I will do now is I will export all of this thing and put it in a different project. So I'll go ahead and click on export and call it Iman1. The reason I've used a red background is because we will now go ahead and use chroma key on this whole thing on another project. But you'll see in a second. So now we need to copy this and make it for number 2 and number 3 as well. So how do I do it? Well, I alt so that I drag the 1. I put it below the black screen so that I still have this feather. Alt, Shift, G is going to undo the compound clip so that I can click on 2 and have a 2 in there. And then I will go ahead and click Alt G once again. And instead of redoing the mask, I'll just go right here, put a keyframe on this mask, on the 1, copy the keyframe, go right here, click on horizontal and copy the keyframe on the mask so that I will have this keyframe right here. This keyframe is going to apply to the whole thing. So if I now disable this, as you can see, there is the 2 coming out. I will go ahead and do this once again, Alt, put it below the black screen, Alt Shift G, and then I type in 3, I make it a compound clip again, mask, horizontal, copy the keyframe, disable this one, and as you can see, we now have our 3 animation, which is perfect. So now I'll go ahead and export Iman3, and then I will also go ahead and export Iman2 because I didn't. We are now in this new project, and I have my 3 animations right here. So I'll now go ahead and disable this one once again, and I will actually go ahead and import a grid. This grid, you can find it in my assets pack, and I will go ahead and drag it until the end of the animation. I will put it below everything. I will put this to the side. There we go. Although this grid is not good enough because as you can see in Iman's animation, the grid is colored. So we will have to do something similar. To do that, I'll drag in a couple of gradients. Found them on canvas, so I'll drag in the red and blue one. Blue one comes from the top left, like this, and the red one comes from the bottom right. I'll increase the scale here and move this like so. I'll move them closer, and I think we are good. I think this is a good replica, so I'll go ahead and export this still frame like this, and then I will remove everything here and put the Iman frame here. So we now have our grid. We have our 1, 2, 3. We just need to animate them. So in order to do this, I'll go ahead and click on Remove Background, Chroma Key, Color Picker, Red. I will increase the intensity. However, I need to disable all the other ones so that I can see if I have effectively removed it. And as you can see, I have, although I have ruined a bit the interior. So to fix that, I will go back on the Chroma Key and increase the shadow so that, as you can see, everything in the center is now fine. Perfect. I will go ahead and do the same here. Enable this, disable this. So I'll go on Chroma Key, Color Picker, Red, Intensity, Shadow, Intensity, Shadow. Disable, enable, Chroma Key, Red, Intensity, Shadow. Perfect. We now have our 3 animations. What I will go ahead and do now is create the actual 3D animation. So in order to do this, I will go ahead and start with the 1. I will go on Animation and click on combo. Once I'm on combo, I will go down. As you can see, there are some 3D animations. They have the 3D symbol. And the one I'll use is flip 4. And as you can see, this is what happens, all right? Now, meanwhile, this animation is not too bad. I don't really like what's happening. So what I will do is I will stop it. So I will go forward until around here, and I will stop it like this. So I want it to stop exactly here, so I will create a compound clip, Alt-G, and then since I want it to stop exactly here, I will go ahead and freeze it. And now we will remove the rest. So now what we have is this. As you can see, this appears, it flips, and then it stops. Now, you might wonder, why are you creating a compound clip with this? Well, I'll explain to you with the 2. So I will remove this real quick. If I go on 2 and I add an animation, flip 4, and then I go exactly here, and I freeze it, as I've done below, without making a compound clip, this is what happens. As you can see, the animation is going to be faster here, it's going to shrink faster, and the freeze is not going to work properly. It's going to just freeze the first frame, the original frame we had. So in order to do this properly, you need to create a compound clip, and then freeze, and remove the rest. And as you can see now, we have the perfect animation that we want, and it's going to stop right here, which is perfect. So I'll now go ahead and do the exact same thing with the 3. So we'll do this and let's check. Yep, I really like this. So I'll go right here, click on Alt-G and freeze. There we go. So we now have all of them. So what I will do now is go on this thing right here in the compound clip, and I will go ahead and distance it by, let's say, minus 1200x, and I will go on this one and put it at 1200x so that it's symmetrical. Let's see how it looks now. It's not bad, it's not bad. What I want to do though is first of all distance the steel frames as well, otherwise it looks garbage. To create a better 3D effect as well, what I want to do is add a bit of rotation. So if I go like this, too much, something like 3 should be fine. I'll do +3 here, and I will make sure that rotation happens from the start to the end. So 0 here and 3 here, -3 here, keyframe, go back to the first frame, 0. So as you can see, the rotation is going to happen as the animation is going on, so that it's pretty smooth, and this is how it ends up. However, there is still something that I don't like. As you can see, the 1 and the 3 are higher than the 2. So I'll move them down a bit. Let's do -100. Let's see how that looks. It's a bit too much. Let's try -70. Okay, I like this way more. So I'll go with this as well. Right here and right here. Let's look at it now. All right. I'm starting to like this a lot. As you can see, there is this 3D space between the 1 and the 2, which gives this effect that creates the illusion of a 3D space here. This looks higher than this one. So we are starting to get some really cool stuff here. So what I will do is I will put the 2 a bit higher, and I will distance the 1 and 3 a bit more. So let's go with 150. 150, I like this more, and 50, 50, 50, and 50. Alright, so now it's looking pretty good, as you can see. I really like this, and we are almost done with the animation actually. Let's compare it to the original one. So if I remove everything, here we have the 0 to 10K, and then the camera movement, and 1, 2, and 3. Meanwhile, in our animation, we have 1, 2, and 3 category. We need to sync them up. So in order to sync them, I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1 second forward, and I will make sure that the second starts, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm 2 seconds forward, and I will make sure that the 3 starts. So this is how it looks like. As you can see, 1, 2, and 3. However, I feel like it's a bit too attached. I want to make them farther. I'll go at the 4-second mark, as you can see, and I will do this. Let's see how this looks now. We have 1, 2, and 3. I like this more. I'll make sure to make the frames all longer to around here. So let's give it a final look. We have 1, 2, and 3. It's not bad. However, I will go ahead and move everything upwards a bit so that we have more space for the 0 to 10K, 10 to 100K, and 100K to 1 million categories. So let's give it a final look. 1, 2, and 3. I don't think the videos moved upwards as I like them to. Yep. So let's go ahead and fix this real quick. So this one was at 50 and now it's at 200, which means I've moved this upwards by 150 on the Y value. So here, this was a minus 70. So moving it 150 pixels up would mean that it goes to 80. And there we go. And I'll do the same here and here. So let's give it a look now. Okay, it's way higher now. It's better. I like this more. Oh, there is a bit of a mistake on the X though. Let's correct the X mistake. So it's 250, this is 0, and this is 50, 50, 0, 0. Okay, there we go. Now it should be good. Let's check. And all right, this is good. And now we need to add the final element of the animation that we are missing, which is this text right here. So I will go ahead and do that. To add that text, I'll go on text, Arial black, there we go. And I'll add 0 to 10K. I will put it here. I will make sure that it's smaller. And then I will need to rotate this by 3 degrees as I've done before with the square right here. I'll add a bit of a shadow so that it sticks out from the background. I'll make it a bit smoother. And now we have 0 to 10K. Does it use a glow? It doesn't use a glow. It makes it appear from below. That's what it does. Okay. So since it makes it appear from the bottom, I will do the same animation. And the animation is called showing up. Let's see how this looks. It's not too bad. However, I will try another animation which isn't showing up, but it's called something like sunrise. I don't remember properly. Yep, it's this one, sunrise. Let's go ahead and give it a look. It's basically the same thing. So I'll go ahead and use this. However, I want to make it slower. Let's go 1 second. Let's look at how it looks. Alright, it's pretty smooth, not gonna lie. So I'll keep this and then I'll copy, paste it right here at the start, put 10 to 100K and put it right here in the middle. Remove the rotation like this and then go right here and put 100 to 1 million. And I will put it right here and put the rotation to 3 degrees. So let's check if everything is well centered. We have the 0 to 10K, we have the 10 to 100K, and we have to... Okay, as you can see, I didn't type anything wrong. However, sometimes CapCut glitches and it types something that you typed before with something that you have typed afterwards. Just remove everything and retype it. I will go ahead and type this. I will change this to a K. All right. Let's look at it one more time. 0 to 10K, 1K. All right. It's not too bad. However, I feel like everything is too fast. So I'll go ahead and put the animation to 2 seconds. I will do the same here. And then we'll see how this looks. So let's go for it one more time. We have 0 to 10K. 10K to 100K and 100K to a million, which is perfect now. I really like this animation, And now I'll trim everything right here. And therefore, I'd say that we have completed our animation. So let's go at it by looking at both the animations side by side. So let's look at what Iman did first. As you can see, we have this with the camera movement and all that stuff. And then it's our turn with our amazing 3D animation with the squares, 1, 2, and 3. There are some details that we can add to our animation to make it look even better. And I want to share them because they're really useful and they give a cool vibe to the whole animation. The first one would be adding a glow, which is what Iman did, but for the numbers. As you can see, the numbers at the start aren't glowing and then they start glowing. And I would do the same right here with these 0 to 10K and all of that stuff. And to do that, I will go at the end of the animation, glow this, reduce the intensity, reduce the range to the minimum, add a keyframe, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 second forward and add the maximum glow. I will copy the keyframes by holding Ctrl and clicking C, and then I will go at the end of the animation again, paste them, add a glow, click here and paste the keyframes, and I will do the same here, add a glow, this one, and paste the keyframes. So let's go look at it one more time. We have the category, and then it slowly glows. However, I think it's glowing too much. So let's slow this down to around 50, actually even less. I want to reduce the intensity. Let's reduce the intensity to 25. Let's make the glow, the final keyframe, 50. So let's look at it one more time. I will make everything the same, 50, and this one is going to be 25. Let's look at it one more time. So we have this, and this. Perfect. And then there are two things that you could do to make the grid in the background look a bit better, because right now it's a bit static. So there are some things that you could do. I usually do one of these two. One is go on video effects, favorites, and I have this film frame effect, which creates this really cool vibe in the background that animates the grid, and it's overall a good effect that I really like to add. Or you can also find a lot of effects in TV or the retro, which basically provide a similar effect to that film frame. Or another cool effect that you could add is this scanning effect, which is called Blu-ray. So as you can see, it's going to do something like this. However, it's a bit too much in my opinion. I don't really like that. And also once it does it once, so around here, once it ends, I would probably cut it and then go on effects and remove it from the second part so that it only happens once. It's not a bad effect, however, I'm not really a big fan of this. Or what you could also do is go ahead and add a custom overlay. For example, an overlay that I have in the pack that you can download for free is this one, where you basically would use the screen blending mode. There we go. And it's going to go create this snow effect. It's going to go over the squares unless you want it to be below. So you drag it like this and it goes below the squares. Just need to move the squares higher. And as you can see, if you move the squares higher, it's not going to affect the squares, but only the background. I highly suggest you to animate the background with some sort of overlay or film frame effect or whatever. And this was the animation from Iman Gadzhi once again. As you can see, he also has this kind of noise, even if it's small. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and before going ahead and practicing this animation, I highly suggest you to check out the assets pack and the assets for this animation. You can use everything that I've used in my animation to recreate what I've done. I know this animation was complicated, but I think it's extremely useful to know how to do 3D stuff with flip animations, and it's going to give you an incredible advantage over your competition. So I wish you a good learning.